Howdy y'all, it's Courtney Scott, the Cowboy Marketer and the owner of Alpha Media. Currently right now we're managing over $700,000 a month in ad spend. And we have generated over $78 million in real estate transaction fees. And I have managed $40 million plus in ad spend for e-com brands. And we have generated over $300 million in revenue for those e-com brands. So keep watching this video. I'm gonna go over the importance of what KPIs mean and how you can actually implement them into your business. Let's go. All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about KPIs and why they're important for you and your business literally right now. Because I feel like the biggest bottleneck a lot of companies are having is they're not establishing KPIs for themselves or for their employees, which is why a lot of fall off happens. So with KPIs, the first thing we're going to go into, if you guys did not know, KPIs is for key performance indicators. What does that mean? Hey, this is what I have done to get the level of success I'm having. So if you just replicate this process, you should have the level of success. Kind of all in a nutshell. But a lot of businesses, they don't have KPIs. They just throw someone in and say, hey, yep, figure it out. And I hope you get the same results as me. No, what you should do is say, hey, if I can make 100 calls in a day, let's say it's take you 5 hours to make 100 calls. I can knock out 100 calls in 5 hours. You shouldn't say, hey, new guy, you don't know nothing about the industry, you don't know how to make dials, you don't know the process, you don't know the SOPs. So don't have them say, hey, you have to make at least 100 calls because you know you'll work harder. Nobody's gonna work harder for your business than you. What I say is have 80%. What if you're doing 100 calls, he should have to do at least 80 calls. That should be his KPI to get some success. Now, if he do 80, why I say 80? Because I heard Dan Martell say, if someone can do 80% of what you do, that's 100% better for you. And I'll talk about that later on in the call and what that means, but that always have stuck with me just because of the importance of that, because you can't never get it to 100% because nobody's gonna work harder for your business than you are, but at least you can work 80% or someone is 90, and you'll probably find somebody that's willing to work 100% because they just actually believe in what it is that you do. But it's really hard to find somebody to work more than 100% strong for your business as much as you want to see. You can find some A players like that. But let's say if you do 100 calls, 100 cold calls a day, and you can get, let's say, 10 people to say yes to a call, to actually showing you their product, your services, your consulting, or your pressure washing, whatever the case may be. And then that results into 2 sales for you. And your average sales price, let's say it's $1,000. It says $1,000. So you just made $2,000 in 5 hours. Good job. Kudos. Give yourself a pat on the back. But like $2,000 in one day, that's okay. But I know I'm worth more. I only work 5 days a week. That comes out to 10 grand a week. That's 40K a month. I don't want that. I want to make hundreds. I want to make $400,000 a month. How can I do that? The only way you guys can do that is by you implementing KPIs. And this is how you can do it. We're going to break down the numbers. So let's say that the guy come in and make 80 calls. And if he make 80 calls, he get 8 yeses and he converts 1.5 sales calls. I know this just for easy numbers. I'm gonna say, hey, he converts 1 guy just for easier number sakes. So now you just did $1,000 a day. You're still taking calls at this time because you have 1 guy. But now when you come on, you can say, this is the projected revenue that you're gonna make. If you're saying, hey, I'm gonna give you 20% of commissions, and if you're doing 40K by yourself and you're saying, hey, dude, I want you to at least be able to do 80% of what I can do. So you're going to take 20% off of that 40K, which is 8,000 off, so 36. So you say, hey, dude, I want you to bring in 36K in revenue. 36K in revenue, I'm gonna give you 20% in commissions, and boom. That's how you can find out what his projected revenue is, and you can kind of reverse engineer all of that stuff. So if you do 20%, you give him 20% of 36, we're looking at 72. So now he's like, hey, dude, you can make you $7,200 a month just because you give him 20%, because you have that stuff. If you go to a sales guy and say, hey, dude, you can make you 6 figures a year, once we scale this thing up, they're all in the door. But it's really hard to get high talent sales guys if you don't have your sales process dialed in, if you're not converting sales, and if you're not having KPIs. The only way you can structure what the commission plan is going to look like, the comp plan is going to look like, is by you actually doing the work yourself and say, hey, dude, if you're only able to do 80% of what I'm able to do, because I have proven this time and time again that this is the formula that it takes to be successful. So if it's like, hey, you're not actually cold calling, you're running paid ads, and on your paid ads, you say, whenever a lead comes in, we call them within 5 minutes, we call them within 5 minutes, they qualify, we book them on the calendar, we say this exact word, this exact words, and we get 20 people to book on the calendar, and you should be closing at 20%. Okay, so if you call them within 5 minutes, you say these exact words, you get 20 people to book a call, but you're not closing at 20% because you're not me, you don't understand it just yet. So probably you'll start off closing at 10%, or you start off closing at 15%. So then you set those KPIs and you set the structures up around how you're able to scale your company to the next level, because now it's duplicatable. So let's say you get this one guy, you're like, man, I only got, he only brought $1,000 a day, and oh, so sad. And you start crying to yourself and you want to go look for different sales guys. But in the actual return, what happens, you can optimize his process so he can go and do more dial, or he can close more, switch from those 8 people to say yes, he can make $80 and probably get 10 people to say yes because he's just smoother on the phone, or he can just close more for you in return. However, what if you went and hired 5 guys? So now you got 5 guys. They're all doing 80 dials. And let's say 5 times 80 is 400. So now you're doing 400. The team is doing 400 dials a day. And out of those 400 dials a day, 40 people are saying yes. And now you're closing way more. Now instead of 1, now you're doing like 5. And now they bringing in 5 grand in revenue. And if they're bringing in 5 grand in new revenue, that's 25 grand a week, and 25 grand times 4 for a month. You're making 100K a month by you bringing on those people. In theory, right? There's a lot of different variables, guys. Don't scold me in the comments, but that's essential of how businesses work and how you can actually scale up. It's like, hey, dude, I can give you 6 figures. I can pay you this. I can pay you XYZ to alleviate some of my time. Because now, guess what? Now you have 5 guys working 5 hours, and now you can go do something more productive with your 5 hours. You don't necessarily have to be in the day-to-day taking those calls. So now you just bought yourself back 5 hours of free time, and you're actually getting paid for it, right? Because you had KPIs. That's the importance of KPIs. So now you bought 5 hours back of your time, and you got other guys bringing you in $5,000 a day in your 5 hours, times that by 5, because now you're not taking the sales calls. Now you're actually working on the business, right? So that's 25 hours a week of you actually focusing on what to actually push that needle and how to be more profitable in the long run. So now you, at the end of every week, you got an extra day in. At the end of every month, now you have what, 100 hours in. So now you have 100 hours, and at the end of the year, you have it starts to add up. So you get 1 extra day, 5 days, dude. It takes you 5 days, 24 hours a day that you buy, 24 hours a week that you bought your time back. If you buy back 5 hours of your time a day over the course of a work week, which is 5 hours, you bought 25 more hours. That's a day and some change. But let's just leave it at a day. So if you literally get a day every week, you just bought yourself an extra 52 hours, which is a month and almost 2 months of extra work that you actually got done by not working in the business, doing those sweat jobs, and as far as you hitting the phones, going crazy and trying to scale it up that way. Hey guys, if you really want someone to actually come into your business and help you implement the right KPIs to help you scale up, because that's a big bottleneck for a lot of real estate investors, a lot of e-coms, a lot of coaches and consultants. They don't know how to establish correct KPIs for their business, and they prevent themselves from growing. My team can come in place and help you do that. We're a management company. What we do, we run Facebook ads, create website, landing pages. From A to Z, we are a all-in service. So we are just as equally invested into the growth of your company just as you are. So if you're interested in someone actually managing it for you, click the link in the description, schedule a call with me or my team, and we'll love to come and help you scale up. Now finish watching the video, because I'm pretty sure it's finna get good. You actually freed up some of your time for you to focus on the more demeaning stuff, like, hey, let me go and focus on doing more content. Hey, let me go and focus on client success. Let me set some KPIs for them. So you got yourself out of this, and now the next thing is, all right, we set KPIs for the sales team, and this is how the sales team is gonna structure themselves. So keep in mind, 80% of what you can do is 100% better for you, because now you bought some of your time back and you actually getting paid. So you bought your time back with manpower, with the sweat equity, and now you're getting paid for it. So that's really, keep that in mind. Now it allows you to go to your client success team. So if you don't have a client success team, if you're definitely doing consulting, or you're doing any form of coaching, or you're doing any form of management, ad agencies, or whatever the case it is, you guys definitely need a client success team. Why? Because if they're bringing on so many people, for one, who's managing them? If it's you, you didn't buy none of your time back, because now you just got more people that you have to manage. So you need some client success people. And in order to get those, you need a process. Say, hey, when the client's having this problem, this is how we fix this problem. This is how you onboard a client, onboard a specialist. You need any and everything from A to Z. And you'll slowly start to dial that in as time goes on. So it's all about the reps in your business, because whenever you fix one problem, you have another problem. You constantly, it's ever in the cycle of business. Hey, I scale this up, scale it up till it breaks, figure out what the problem is, scale it up again, let it break again. And that's what we love business for, because some people just love business. So let's say you went to the client success team, and now let's say churn is 25%, and these people are giving you $1,000 a month. You bring on this client success when their sole job is literally client success, focusing on if that person is going to be successful in your program, whether or not you're there. And that's important. So now you get some of your time back here, but they come in, you got really good talent, guys. It's real important to get good talent, but they come in and they get it to, hey, let's get it to 10%, and it's still $1,000 a month. Or they probably doing some upsells if they're really good, right? So you're actually getting way more. But if they get it to 10%, they're saving you 15% in churn. Let's say that's $15,000, right? So let's be $15,000 every month that they're saving you, just because you set this standard up. You set the KPIs. So then guess what happens? Here's the tricky part about KPIs. You realize you hired 2 client success success, and they're both doing 10%. Now your KPIs say, hey guys, we got to keep churning at 25%. It went down to now you're reiterating and you're changing and saying, hey guys, now the KPI is going to be 10%. Now we got to make sure we focus on how can we keep it at 10%. And you're going to look at the people that are doing 25% and what the people at 10% are doing, and you'll see a marginal difference. They're calling their clients more. They're probably calling their clients less, but they're actually solving more problems. You start to review their calls and say, man, this is saving me $15,000. You got 5 client success going from 25% churn to a 10% churn. This is saving me $75,000 a month in revenue just because I hired these good people. And how much is that worth to you? 30 grand, 50 grand? Because you're still taking home 20. You would have lost them regardless. So you could pay them whatever you want to pay them because they're actually keeping that churn down. That is really important. And you get to just go and constantly optimize your process over and over again. And you have to have like SOPs in place. So what you'll notice is if you call 100 people, and out of these 100 people, you say these exact words, 10 should say yes. If not, do not deviate from this. Do not deviate from the script. This script is law. This script is land. You have to follow this script word for word to get these 10. Because you get on there, sales guys say, hey, I asked them this one question and I got 11 people that said yes to me that day. Then they go on the next week and like literally only 7 people that said yes because they changed that and they thought that what worked. It didn't work. It's what you have tried and tried and tried again. So if you're running the test for KPIs, you have to solidify, say, hey dude, if you want to make $7,200, as we did the math up here, if you want to make $7,200 a month, this is exactly what you have to do word for word, word for word. Because you can come in as a business owner and try to fix all this at one time. No, guys, just document your process, create SOPs, and it'll just be easier to replace yourself in the long run. Trust me, my 7 years in business, I've made the mistake of just shotgunning it. Just like, hey dude, if this worked, we're going to keep doing it, not documenting none of the processes. And when I started to hire really good people, what happened? They fell off because there was no process in place. So good people, the process just fell off. They couldn't stick to a process. They didn't have a process. 2, what happens is it's really hard to keep people on because it's hard to train them up. So what I just did, it was like, hey guys, how can we systematize everything and set KPIs and standards and SOPs around everything that we do and how it can help you grow the business and take that business to the next level. So this is really important, guys. So make sure you set KPIs on any and everything you can. How many dials you make, how many offers you give, how many people you pitch, how many DQs. Like you want to set KPIs on any and everything. So when it's time to you make that executive decision, like this person is not bringing in that much revenue as John. Let's say John is bringing you in $50K a month and he's exceeding KPIs. He's exceeding KPIs. So KPI $100, he's doing $200. John is just performing. He's an A player. You'll get some of those guys that want to come in. But then you got Bob. Bob, that's a funny name. So if you're Bob, I just think it's a funny name. Leave a comment for me and just say, hey, it's Bob. So let's say Bob, and he's only bringing in 10K, or let's just say, let's not do Bob like that since he's gonna come in for us. And he's gonna do 25K. He's doing half of what John is doing. But then you're going to looking like, man, why? What's going on? And Bob don't know. Bob is like, man, I don't know, dude. I'm working as hard as John. I'm making sure I stay in the pocket for the close. I'm not letting him get off the phone without paying me. It's just that I'm not getting that many appointments, or I'm not getting as many appointments as Bob, not many opportunities. And then what you're going to do as a business owner? Okay, I set KPIs. How many dials you doing? I'm looking at his dials. Hey, Bob, I figured out what the problem was. John is doing 150 dials a day, and you're doing 75 dials a day. And Bob is gonna be like, yeah, yes, but I'm getting more. And he's just gonna come up with a bunch of excuses. But it's like, hey, Bob, when I first told you to come on, these are the KPIs because this is what I know that works. So if you keep doing these, you keep giving this amount of offers, if you keep talking to this much, your talk time is this much every single day, that is the recipe for success. If you do this, you cannot change up the recipe for success and expect the same dish at the end. If you go and cook some fried chicken, I'm just gonna say fried chicken, and if you say, hey, I'm gonna change it from vegetable oil to I'm changing it to coconut oil, the chicken is gonna taste different, right? When it comes down to it, it just is. So don't let your sales guys get in there and try to change up metrics. Like, hey man, what if I did this? What if I said this? No, the objective is if you do 150 dials, you will do what John's doing. But you're trying to do less work. They try to call it, oh yeah, I'm trying to work smart because I'm actually going through these leads and trying to do this. I'm not trying to do the cold call ones. I want the more warm leads. And you're trying to actually trick the system. And it works in the short term, but it not working long term. You'll probably make really good money because The month before that, 3 months before that, Bob was probably beating John. Bob was probably doing 60K. Right now, 2 months later down the line, he's doing the exact same thing. He found ways to get lazier and lazier and lazier, and he's in this endless loop of finding ways to get lazier. Now, John is succeeding him on 3 months consecutively in a row. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's because 3-4 months ago, you changed the process and you did not try to fix it now. You as a business owner have to look at the KPI and say, all right, is he staying aligned with the KPIs that I set for him? Because now he's doing half. He's got closing at the same percentage. All right, he's not doing dials. He got the same talk time, but he's not doing that many dials. Like, what's going on? On average, this is really bad. So as soon as he fixed that, his sales shoot through the roof. Now he's at 50K just because you can go back to that. But let's say Bob don't want to change. Bob is one of the guys like, no, I know what works. I'm a veteran sales guy. I know what my process is. Now you have more data to let him go, especially when it comes to making those hard decisions. You're like, I don't want to let this guy go because he's not performing when he used to perform for me. But you'll start to notice like a trend when those guys start performing, they stop working as hard. So you can always go back and track and see, all right, he's not doing as many follow-ups. This is the follow-up. You got to work all these leads. Okay, you're not doing as many dials. You have to work all these leads. You have to at least make these amount of dials to stay on the team. So KPIs is a standard that you're setting for your team. You have to at least do 80 dials a day to stay on my team. And you have to be really strict with that. And especially if they go on a long time and they find little hacks. If they say, hey, I do 50 dials and I cash collect more money. That does not mean nothing. That is for the short term. And then you can slowly start to optimize and you can say, hey, okay, if they did do less dials, we can change the KPI because now we have a more systematic way, a systematic approach, because we start asking the money qualifier inside of our form whenever they book a call with us. Now it comes down to this makes way more sense in order for us to scale. So let's go and not do 80 dials. Let's focus on these higher quality leads right here the most, and let's grade these leads, push them to the side. We'll put them in a follow-up sequence, but these leads right here, these are A's. We're gonna get to these faster because it's costing most of our time to try to qualify these BQs over here. Whatever the process may be, but you wanna have a KPI that is a standard for being on a team. And if they can't live up to that standard, let them go. A lot of people be like, man, maybe next month he's gonna go and do 25K, 30K, 40K. Next month, I seen Bob do it because you're so stuck on Bob doing the 70K, 5, 6, 7 months ago, but Bob is not standing up to the standard. And there's a minimum standard for the team. And that standard is, hey, do you have to go and make 80 dials, but Bob is getting away with 40, and the team is gonna feel like they don't have to do 80 as well. So just let Bob go, let him off the team. And then just promote John or get more Johns. Because guess what? More people are going to come in. John number 2 is going to come in like, hey, John is doing this much. He's making 10K a month. I want to make 20K a month. Just double what John 1 is doing if you want to do that. And that's how you get scale. Just how much can we actually push? Is it okay if we got to do $100 a day? Is it possible for me to do 200? If I had to do 200, do I got to wake up early? Do I got to go to sleep later? Because I know if I do $100 a day, I can make 10K a month. So if I do this, I should be able to make 20K a month. If I got time. Then you get into the constraints of, okay, if I do $500, would I make $400K a month? You kind of limited on time there, but you as a business owner is not. You can just go and bring on more talent, but the sales guy is kind of limited on time because you only got so many hours in the day. But the thing about you as a business owner, you can buy more hours and just hire more closers so you can get more time. So if I have 5 sales guys that are working 4 hours a day, I just bought myself way more hours than if it's just me working a day. And now, as a description that I gave earlier, you just literally bought 5 hours of your day. You help your customer service team optimize, and you just help your sales team optimize because you set more stricter KPIs and you dial that process in. You know the SOPs, you know the scripts that they say from A to Z, and how they can actually scale this thing up. So that is the importance of KPIs and why you need them in your business and why they're super necessary for you guys to scale. Because a lot of people, they get stuck, and to prevent yourself from getting stuck is you need to set KPIs. Because when things are not working, you always go back to the KPIs and redefine them. Most people don't have KPIs, so they get stuck. So thank you guys for watching, and wait for the outro. Peace. All right, guys, that was a lot of value. I know I just information dumped on you guys about KPIs, but now you see why they're important to your business. So after you leave me a like and you subscribe and you drop the comment in the chat for me, run and start implementing them ASAP or refine them, tune them up, and actually get even better results. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.